Good. So, to continue, please, the Google are useful as like for your to be work daily and remote from home. So, my name is Oluwatobi. I lead the Google Business Group for Abeokuta, and straight away, I will go straight to the discussion of today. So, we now live in an era of the start, and it's still necessary for us to still communicate. Then collaborators to prepare the same. First presentation before we have Celestine join us. I will take you through the tools that is going to help you as a business and individual, help you to stay connected during social distancing time. So let's start with communicating your way. So emails, specifically, I will be talking about using Gmail. Gmail gives you access to a lot of Google tools that you can use to be able to communicate effectively. And do know that Gmail also integrates with other Google tools, just like you have the um, Google Calendar, Google Keep, Task, and Hangout Meet. Another tool I want to talk about is the Google Groups. So Google Groups gives you the ability to create forum, to also create and foster communication amongst um, colleagues at workplace. So one other thing you can also see use group is to be able to automatically give access to colleagues to a document or to a folder or to any other document. It might be spreadsheet, it might be Google sheet of the and the email address of each of these tasks. You can just put all these emails together in a Google group. Once you do that, and you can automatically just input the links to the Google group and then give access or send emails to every other person at the same time. Hangout Meet is also a tool that you can use to do meetings and can help is effective for also sharing screens, just like we're having this particular webinar now. So let's talk about collaboration. So you can collaborate using Google Drive where you can store all your files. So just look at a safe place where you can store your files and organize. So it gives you the ability to store your documents either Google Sheet, Google Docs, Google Drive, Google Slides, or you can also use it to store pictures, scan documents, and every other thing that you use within your organization. So Google Docs is just see it like a way you can use to write documents. So Google Docs helps you to be able to write just like you have your normal Word document. So it helps you to write and you can also collaborate with other members of the business, other staffs of the business at the same time by seeing exactly where each person is working on and who is making an editing at particular time and at what line of the person is working on. So also you can use Google Sheet to keep track of maybe financial record as much as whatever you want to look for. And then you can also use Google to do presentations. So if you are not aware, um there's this TLD that Google introduces sometimes that helps you to easily and quickly new documents without having to go into your Google Drive. So if you go into browser and type docs.new, sheets.new or slides.new, automatically it helps gives you the ability to be able to create a document without having to go outside of start having to go into your Google Drive. So Jamboard. Jamboard gives you the opportunity to be able to interact and collaborate at the same time, work and trying to work on brainstorm on ideas. So if you work in a type of organization that you use Google and I use whiteboard and sticky notes to be able to move around, this is going to be a very helpful one for you because it gives you the opportunity to be able to draw, to be able to move keynotes virtually, just like you will do when you're in the office. So managing your tasks. So let's talk about how you can manage your tasks using Google tools. So we have Google Calendar. Google Calendar help you to stay organized, and you can also be able to share your schedule with other staffs in your organization. So it helps you to know what to do next and how to stay organized. Google Keeps can be used personally to be able to keep tracks of ideas, to keep track of informations that you just remember or whatever you want to keep at a go. So it also sync with the web and also has a mobile app. We have Google Tags. With Google Tags, you can be able to create a to-do list. You can even create a mail and convert it to a to-do list inside your Gmail, because Google Tags integrates with your Google Calendar and you can see all everything within the calendar. So if you go into your Gmail and look towards on desktop and you look towards the right hand side, you see this Google Tags icon. If you click on it, just drag any of the email you received into Google Tags. It automatically creates it as a tax, and then just adjust. You can just adjust the date and the time. So you automatically put it in there as a calendar. So if you go into your calendar, you see the Google Tags. Once you click on it, it shows you, it takes you to that particular email and at that particular time. So you can also manage your trainings. Assuming you're onboarding new employees into your company and you want to train them. So instead of them coming on site due to social distancing, you can go ahead to create Google Classrooms where you can be able to effectively um, give trainings to these new hires. It can also be useful for companies that also hold trainings outside the organization, and it also integrates with Google Hangout Meet. It's easy for you to be able to also use Google Drive along with it. So forms allows you to be able to create surveys, to be able to create quiz. It also allows you to be able to collect data from outside the organization or within your organization. For see it as a replacement to using paper to fill forms, or you're talking to HR said they have to fill the form. So you can just use a Google form to be able to fill to be able to submit any request you need to submit within the organization. So Google Sites can help you to be able to create simple, fast, easy sites, drag and drop. You don't need to have a skill as a you don't need to have a elaborate skill to be able to do it. Google Sites can just help you to do that. And then you can be able to share that within members of the organization if you use G Suite, or you can use it to pass a message or to do a registration for those that would like to attend your online trainings. YouTube, just like of us as watching this webinar right now on YouTube. So it's also a way you can be able to share product updates, product informations, how to tutorials for business for other people to be able to learn about what your business is doing. So we've been able to talk about the productive tools that we can use within our organization and for ourselves. So if you have any question, please wait till the end of this webinar, and also please kindly put the questions into the comment section. We'll be going through all the questions, then we'll be answering them after the end of the seminar. So I will be moving you next to the women will lead, who will be taking you through about on using on what women will is all about. So Omolara. Omolara, please, can you? Omolara.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go on. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on. We can hear you.
Okay. Um, Omolara from Owolabi. So basically, what women will is about. Women will is an arm of the businesswoman that strives to empower women all over the world by creating opportunities for them to have affordable it is about entrepreneurship, it is about business, it is also about women will strives to men. So this is the first we can touch on them. Let's try to read the chapter quickly and let's see what we have um, join our community by just sending a message under the chat to any of Thank you very much. Well, like I was saying, Women Will is a Google initiative to create public opportunity for women everywhere. We help women all over the world make the most of technology to build skills, to get inspired and to connect with each other. So we aim to promote gender equality all over the world. It would really be nice of you to join us. We teach digital skills, we teach about leadership, we teach about workplace ethics, and most importantly, we teach about entrepreneurship, how you can use that skills to scale your businesses. So if you like to join our community, you can just leave a reply on this particular.
All right, everyone. So, thank you for staying on with us. So, let me quickly introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Celestine Omi, and he will be talking to us how to work smartly from home. He currently works with Alta Lab, and before then he has worked with Konga, he has worked with Andela, he has also worked with Istack. Um, Welcome, Celestine. Please, you can have the floor now.
Hi everyone, good evening and thanks for having me. Oluwatobi, I think that's the name. Thanks for the invitation. Well, I won't take much of your time, but I will just speak about how to work remotely. I have been doing that for about 3 years now, so I think I will just share from my experience what it is that I'm doing. Apologies, I didn't prepare a slide for this presentation, but I have like a bunch of bullet points. I'm happy to send this my notes to the organizers and you can share it with every single person. So, without much ado, I would like to begin. So, I think the very first thing with working remotely is you being able to be comfortable in where you're going to be working from. I sincerely believe that there is a certain level of productivity that you cannot attain if you're not comfortable working in a particular place. For instance, if you have to sit on the ground with your legs stretched out and your laptop on your thigh and hunch over your laptop for 8 hours every single day, I don't necessarily think you're going to be productive very well with that. You might be for the very first few weeks, but after a while, you end up with a very bad backache. So you being comfortable in where you work from and how you work is super important to your productivity. The biggest problem with remote working is that the other person can't see you. So they can't tell if you're being productive or not. They can't tell your body language. They can't even see you to make an informed judgment of how you're behaving generally. So your output is what you're greatly measured on, and if your output is flawed, then there's a problem. So the first thing I would suggest is that being able to get like a very comfortable table and chair is super important to your productivity when you work remotely. I know that doesn't quite sound like the most interesting thing you probably was expecting to hear, but a comfortable chair, comfortable table will do magic to your productivity. The next thing for me on that list is I like working with an external monitor. No matter even if I have a laptop, I feel like working with multiple screens improves my productivity tremendously. So an external monitor is a must-have for me. I have a picture of myself on Twitter, if you care enough to go look for it, just showing how I work every single day. So I think that for me is super important. I think the next thing I'd like to speak about with how you can work smartly when you're working remotely is just having backups of every single thing. So first and foremost, a backup internet is a must. For me to prepare for this webinar or for this meeting, I have to have at least one backup internet, my main internet connection and my backup internet connection. So as to make sure that if one goes down, at least there's a level of reliability that I can get from the second one, just to be on the safe side. So it's super important that I have a backup internet. The backup power supply is very important. There is just so much that you can do with the laptop on your battery. For most people, your laptop battery can take you an hour, 2 hours max. So what happens after that? You can't just buy on regular electricity. That's not going to work. So backup electricity is important, either by way of generator or by way of inverter. Then you really need that. The next thing about working remotely that I think I would love to talk about is your communication. One of the biggest problems with remote work is how you communicate. Communication, I think, for me, is just as important as the work that you do. Because half the time, if you don't communicate, it's almost like winking in a dark room. You know you're winking, but the next person can't see you, so they can't tell you you're winking or not. You can be super productive, super engaged, you're doing all of your work, but if you can't communicate effectively, then there's a problem. The other person won't know what's happening. I'll give you a simple example. For those people who are in tech and you are maybe a software engineer, you know that half the time the path towards getting a solution to a problem is not always a straight line. So you can't move from A to B and get the solution to a problem. In most cases, that can work, but in other cases, that doesn't work. So what do? Do you just spend the first 2 days of the week banging out this thing and hoping it will work? Or do you communicate early enough to say, hey, this is why I'm stuck, this is why I have issues, but this is what I'm trying to do to get through to this? I would strongly suggest you do that. So the first time you talk, communicate. Second time, communicate. Then if you find the solution on the third day, perfect. But if you don't do that and you only come up on the third day and say, this is what I did, people more often than not will assume that you spent the first 2 days just, wasting around and not doing anything productive. And in most cases, if you work in an organization that does performance review, that will tell you the performance review. And does also have some cascading consequences. You might miss performance bonus, might miss, a promotion or maybe even a pay raise or something. So I believe consistent communication is super important. Now, there are two ways to probably communicate. Verbal communication, like we're having on this webinar, and also written communication. Now, verbal communication is super tricky, super, super tricky. You will write with the best of intentions, but how the other person read and interpret it makes all of the difference. So I think in our company, the rule of the game is when in doubt, over communicate. So I'd rather you write a 30 paragraph and try to communicate your ideas in a very, verbose way than trying to be super succinct but not communicating and passing the wrong impression to the next person. One of the best analogy that I think I like to use is, maybe let's even start from punctuation. If you write "let's eat Tom," it's very different from "let's eat, Tom." The first one sounds as if you want to eat Tom, the human being. That is your, carnivore. You want to eat the person. The other one almost always indicates that you're asking the other person a permission to eat, or you're inviting them to eat with you, a meal in this case. So just being able to communicate and use proper, punctuation could make all of the difference with your communication. Then the next thing is that it's important for you to be, very polite when you're writing. You see, oftentimes when you write, when people read, they read as if you are talking to them. They read and they can hear your voice in their head. If you say, get this done, right, in a WhatsApp message or in a Slack message, to the other person, it might sound as if you're shouting. But if you start it with, please, can you get this done? That makes a lot of difference. You'll be surprised how the second version of what you're trying to communicate will make all of the difference with this person you're talking to. Because the second one somewhat empathy and also sounds a lot more respectful. And also, it doesn't make you appear like a commando with your teammates. If you talk to this person face to face and you say, get this done, now there are non-verbal cues that this person can deduce from this conversation, and they can understand you and understand your intent. So maybe you smiled while you were saying, get this done. Or maybe you shook their hands while you're saying, get this done. And those are non-verbal cues that add a whole lot and different meaning to how you communicate. But if you never have the opportunity to, apply these non-verbal cues, then as much as you can, be as empathetic with the next person as possible. Add languages or words or phrases that can tone down the conversation. You can never go wrong with saying please in any conversation. You can almost never go wrong with saying this. And also prefixing when you want to make demands with can, is always a good way for you to soften the communication. So that's one. Two, now, no matter your best efforts in most cases, people will still read what you wrote and try to sort of interpret it differently, either because they had a bad day or something happened and they're transferring their aggression. As a rule of thumb, we have a simple policy. When in doubt, get on the Zoom or get on the time. Get on a Zoom call or get on a call like this. Now, there is a world of difference. Just spending 5 minutes to speak with the next person verbally can do that, spending 30 minutes going back and forth, text can never achieve. So you really need to be, cognizant of that fact and almost always take advantage of it. And also, I think the next thing is that when you're getting on, when you're working remotely and you're getting into a call like this one, almost always assume that the next person sending you the call link is defaulting that call to like a video call. The most awkward thing that wants to happen to you is being caught in an unprepared manner. I mean, when you're working from your home, you're relaxed. You probably have a singlet on, your bed chested. I wouldn't have your briefs on, but you don't want to appear like that in a video call with other people. So when in doubt, I would strongly suggest before you get on any call, try to look presentable, try to look neat. If you have to wear a shirt, please do that. If you have to wear trousers, do that. Because these days when most of the calls are recorded, so that for playbacks, it is important that you don't, make those mistakes and then slip through the crack. I think that's with communication. Then the other part is with how you work generally. So I typically go to bed by 3, 4 a.m. every single day. That's been my life for the last maybe 20 years. Yes, 20 years now. I can't go to bed by 10 p.m. like every other person. It doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I go to bed by 3 a.m. So what that means is that I end up waking up late. So for me as a person now, my working period starts from 10 a.m. on the dot, and in most cases, I try to end it by 7 p.m. At least I try to put like 9 hours in my work on a daily basis. So 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day, and I work that way. Now, I am trying to be as disciplined, though in most cases I fail woefully with this schedule. So I wake up by 10, work to, I am very certain when I wake up, but when I close from work is one part that I'm trying to be as disciplined as possible. Because there's always something to be done, because there's new things for you to fix. But the problem is that if you don't become very disciplined at clocking out, you might end up burning out. And there is nothing as bad as you burning out very bad. Because when you start burning out, or when burnout sets in, your productivity is going to take a major, major beating. And when your productivity takes a major beating, then of course you are on your way out of that job. So just the same way you have at the back of your mind that you have to clock in at work by 9 a.m. and clock out by 5, create that mental model that you clock in by 9 and clock out by 5. No matter how hard it is, stand up, leave your computer, do something else, but make sure you clock out. You want to be very cautious of your mental health so that you can still perform very well. And also, I think when working remotely also, there's a tendency for you to lose the concept of time. So things that you probably wouldn't ordinarily do on a daily basis, like wake up, take a shower, brush properly, enter your car and drive to work, you don't do that. So one of the things I think I do is that every now and then I leave my home office and go downstairs and play with my kids, watch an episode of a particular series I've been following, or just something. I like doing, in the I started doing push-ups. So I stand up, I do about 20 push-ups every single day. It just helps me stay alert. I wake up, I leave my desk, I go down, have lunch or eat in the dining with every other person. I drink, I just generally relax. Just the same way you take breaks while you are at work, learn to take break while you are working remotely. Again, it contributes overall to your well-being as a person. And if you don't do this, again, I sincerely believe you are just setting up yourself to a very massive burnout. And a burnt-out employee is an unproductive employee. An unproductive employee is an employee that will be let go. That's just how it works. That's how it works. I think one of the things also that I like or I have on my list is that, I have a to-do list every single day. I have a long list of things I want to do, but I focus on the 3 things that I need to accomplish for the day. A to-do list allows you to become disciplined on how you spend your time. A to-do list also gives you a way for you to look at what you've done retrospectively every single day. And most importantly, it allows you to be accountable with your time. And I think the other benefit of a to-do list is that you can easily give an account of your time over the last 1 week if you have a to-do list. So it's easier for you to go to your to-do list and say, hey, I did this, and produce a proper report if and when necessary, as opposed to you trying to recall things from memory. So I live my life on calendars and to-do lists. I can't function without them, unfortunately. So I have a to-do list on my laptop, on my phone, and I maintain a digital to-do list. I use a tool called Microsoft To Do. So that when I create a to-do list from one of the apps or from one of the devices, it syncs across board, and I don't have to worry about if anything is slipping through the crack. I use a calendar religiously, so every single thing that I do must be on my calendar. Everything. I don't just wake up and do things late. Otherwise, in the cases where it's absolutely necessary, again, I only have limited amount of time every single day, so I have to be judicious. So a calendar is, excuse me, super important. Like I mentioned earlier on this call, I have a home office. It's a proper place in my house that I set up as an office. I try to make it as good as possible, and also most importantly, I can lock the door and get something to cost. So if you can't afford it, get a proper home office. Shower from your room, walk into your home office, get some work done, and when you're leaving in the evening, you lock it up, and you don't go back there. It will help you very much. Then the last thing I have on my list here is that I have a whiteboard. So at my home office, I have a whiteboard. Whiteboards allow me to think clearly. It allows me brainstorm. It allows me pour my ideas visually and bring clarity to whatever things I'm dealing with. Yes, I can write on papers. Yes, I can write on my jotters. But there's something about the whiteboard that just allows me just, think, express myself in ways that pen and paper can't do for me. So I think those are like my tips on how to work smartly, remotely, and how to be successful working remotely. So that's it. Open for questions, please.
Thanks so much, Celestine. That was a very wonderful session.
Thanks.
Okay. So before we start receiving questions, I want to ask this question. So, what advice do you give to someone that is kind of working in a home that it doesn't exclusively have an apartment to his own or like a room to his own as a person? What kind of advice can you give to such a person to stay productive and still be attentive enough to be able to work from home?
Okay, so
You get
first
my
and
question?
foremost, get a headphone. If you like listening to music, listen to music, because listening to music allows you to tune out from whatever is happening around you, so you can listen to music, and it's important that you do that. So I think for me, listening to music, it will help you tremendously. The other thing I will talk about is, again, I can't still overemphasize the need for you to have like a proper working desk. It doesn't matter if it's a corner of your room. Get a desk, get a table. There are plastic table, there are plastic chairs. Get it. But get the headphones. It will help you. But also, I explain to people around you that you sitting on that desk doesn't mean you're just wasting away. That you actually have a job. Because most people will not understand why you'll be on that seat for God knows how long, and you're not coming in to help out anywhere. So, folks, that between the hours of this to this, it's actually a real job. So please, allow me this opportunity, allow me this period for me to be able to, work properly. Then I think you'll be fine. Yeah, somebody's asking, what if the person has to do house chores? Well, I think as long as you live with other people, you have to understand that you have to contribute your own quota as a person. So with regards to house chores, you can't run away from that. You just have to be smart and apply wisdom. If your chores in the morning, revolves around you, let's say doing the dishes, cleaning the house, sweeping the compound, and maybe taking the kids to school before you do anything, please by all means get that done. Because when you are done working, some things won't just happen to themselves magically, especially when you can't afford that. If you don't have a maid or your house doesn't have a maid, you will have to eat when you're done, right? So it's important that you make provisions for that. Either somebody is making the meal or you're paying someone to do that, or you have to find a way to apply this. Somebody is asking how this can apply in the construction company. Unfortunately, remote work doesn't quite cut across every single industry. You work in a construction company, there's nothing you can do about that. You have to go to the site. You have to go to the site and work. There's no two ways about it. Except otherwise, in the case where you're doing technical drawings, engineering drawings, where you can stay in your house and do that. But if you have to go to a site, then you have to go to a site. Unfortunately, there's no two ways about that. Yeah.
All right. So this is not a question directly to you. So, we actually had the form where we asked people to ask questions before this webinar, and someone was asking that he has taken the training on Google Digital Skills and he has completed it, but unfortunately, he couldn't implement what he was taught while doing the online training. So it's always like that. Don't feel bad about it, because that's what actually used to happen when you take online courses and you don't actually do the practical aspect of it. So what I can advise such a person to do is try and take up a role as an internship in a company or in an organization. It can be either paid or it can be either not paid. As long as it is, you are going to be able to use those skills and there is somebody to be able to put you across to what you are trying to learn. And another way you can also learn, if you don't want to go into organization, is to join communities and volunteer for that particular role, where you can be able to put into practice what you've been able to learn and what is you've been able to learn during the training. So that is a very good opportunity for you. So so um so Celestine, if I may ask, how long have you been working from home?
So I worked at Andela. So I spent about 2 years at Andela. For me, I think Andela was a blend of going to the office and you can work from home. But I have been working at Alta Labs exclusively for about 18 months now. Thereabouts, and I'm working from home. All our team members, everybody works from home. We don't have an office, which is why it's tough for us to have team members scattered around the country. So, yeah, so I've been doing that for about 18 months now.
Wow. So actually, it was this lockdown that actually forced me to working from home. But actually, it's been a very nice experience having your own space within the home to be able to work. So how you talk about having your own space and then about having to be able to lock yourself in. How have you been able to achieve that? Because I actually follow your social media posts and I could remember you posting a particular print sign on the front of your door saying "Do not come in. That is busy now." But unfortunately, I know you have kids and they can't read that. So how do you manage your kids with working from home?
Oh, well, I mean, so I have been fortunate enough to have a very understanding wife. So she understands that when I'm in this room, so I'm working, so she helps manage the kids. We had a nanny, but the person left just before the whole lockdown started. So during the day, while the nanny is here, so she takes care of the kids, and that affords me time to go work. But also, I don't lose the sight of the fact that I'm a parent, so I try to spend times in the evening with my kids. So my son is at the age where I can watch cartoon with him. My daughter is 8 months old, so she quite doesn't understand what's happening. But I mean, I try to make time with my kids after all I've been said and done, after all of the work. I still have a family to do that.
All right. Thanks so much, Celestine, for your time. So, in before you leave, is there anything you would like to share with us or you like us to know?
I In what sense is it about work or what else?
can be about work, it can be about maybe the situation happening around the world right now, which we find ourselves with 19. It could be a
Um,
word of encouragement to someone.
okay, so that's fine. So, with regards to what's happening around the world now, it's quite unfortunate. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody really prepared for this. But it is what it is. We have to make the most out of the situation and move forward. Yes, times are hard. Things are hard for everyone. But I sincerely believe that. So I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. So I lay my faith strongly by the word of God. Bible says in that same line, in that same year, Isaac sowed and reaped a hundredfold. So I think it was a situation like this where they had a problem and uncertainty and he prospered. So that's one. Two, most people are transitioning into working remotely for the first time. And I'm going to be certain with you that this is not going to end after when, if and when we come out of this remote and this whole stuff, it's not going to end because most employers are now beginning to see that, okay, Oluwatobi is working from home. He's still doing the same thing he's been doing for us in the office. His output is still consistent and nothing has dropped. Okay, good. So if this is a company of 50 people, and instead of renting a whole floor of an apartment to have all 50 people come work in, why not we just rent a small room where 5 people can be there and the other 45 can work from their homes? So remote work is going to be something that is going to become norm now. Most people think they couldn't do it, but now we're surviving, we're doing it. And I think it's going to still remain like this for a long time to come. So as much as you can, there's tons of stuff on the internet about how to work and succeed remotely. You should start reading it, start preparing for it. There has been a major tectonic shift, a shift rather, in the world, and this is not going to be the end of it. So you should go learn how to work remotely. It's important. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much for having me, and well done. And have yourselves a very good evening, and all the best for the meeting.
Okay. All right. No, no, in emotion screen. All right. So we have there's a request that during the time when Omolara was making the presentation for Women Will, that she the audio was not audible enough. So Omolara is back on this call to be able to share with us um about what Women Will is and how to join. So Omolara, over to you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Um, am I audible enough, Toby? Good evening, everyone. I really learned a lot from Celestine's session, especially for those of us who have no choice but to work from home at this time. So basically, in just a few minutes, I will be talking to us about what Women Will is about and how you can join Women Will. So basically, Women Will is a Google initiative that strives to empower women to succeed in all walks of life. We have different women with chapters all over the world, and it would be very nice if you could locate a chapter near you because women will focus on 4 pillars. We um, teach about entrepreneurship, how you can use digital skills to scale your businesses. We teach about workplace ethics. We talk about leadership. We talk about entrepreneurship, and then we do a lot of other curriculums that actually help you to succeed in whatsoever it is that you're doing. So if you are interested in joining Women Will, you can just leave a comment under this chat, and I'm going to respond to that comment and guide you through the whole process. You can also Google what Women Will is about, and so that you can have more information about it. It will really be a nice opportunity for you to join a community of women who are, striving in their businesses and in the workplace, women who are kicking ass. You can join by just leave a message under the chat. I'm going to get in touch with you and guide you through the process. You can also follow us on our social
Your
media
screen
pages. That's
give
basically where
after
we
everything. Now you can
drop
I get this is
information. You can follow us on our social media pages, Women Will Abeokuta on
are you
Instagram. You'll see programs there. And so when we have an event, you'll be able to join the event. Thank you very much.
Very much.
all right? Thanks so much, Omolara. So before we go, just one more thing. During the introduction for this webinar, we lost audio. So Israel is quickly coming back up to quickly share with us what GBG Google Business Group is all about.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Israel.
So
Now I'll be
Israel, over
telling
to
you
you.
about. Thank you very much. I'll be telling you about what GBG is about. Firstly, as name implies, GBG, it means Google Business Group, and that's the community, a global community of passionate volunteers who run events on Google products, digital skills, and career development to help local businesses and job seekers succeed. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go on.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Now, talking about what the vision of the community is, the vision is to be a global community in every city, just like how we have it as GBG Abeokuta. It's actually a community in Abeokuta city where business owners, professional owners, and can access free trainings which can help them grow their businesses and advance their careers. So it's just a community coming together of different people just to help their career and move forward. Now, who are the target of the audiences? We have the business owners, that is the startup and the SMEs. We have the job seekers, the professionals, and women. That's the women which we just had their part. Now, talking about how it works. Well, GBG is organized into city level chapters, just like I've said earlier, which are led by GBG leads who manage and grow their local communities on a voluntary basis. So I don't think we're actually getting paid. No, it's actually a free session wherein it's just voluntary based. Anyway, now GBG is an independent community which is not part of Google, but it is endorsed and recognized by Google. So it's not as if we are just recognized to promote the business forward. Now, what are the core values of GBG? First one is to connect, the second is to learn, and the third is to grow. Now, when I mean connect is connecting to the local business owners, meeting professionals, meeting job seekers, meeting the target audiences. That's the way we connect. When we talk about learn, that is when we dish out knowledge. We tell them about the Google products we have, just like we're having now. This online meetup is actually a form of learning where we are sharing to you. Okay, these are the kind of tools you can use when you're working remotely. So this is the avenue for learning. And then when it comes to the aspect of growing, the third one, that is when you implement the tools we've taught you into your daily life. So when you actually apply it, that is the aspect when you grow. When you apply and Google Sheets into your business, you're actually growing with Google Sheets. Do you get me? So those are our core values, which is connect, learn, and grow. Now we know you might actually have experiences with us probably during our previous meetups, and you might want to actually share your success story. We actually want you to share your success story with us because it is a form of testimony to us that yes, we are actually working on things in Abeokuta. Well, to do that, you can just type in your testimony to bit.ly/GBG Abeokuta story. GBG Abeokuta story. So you can just link up and then drop your testimony. We'll definitely see it. And also to become a member, because some of you might be wondering, okay, how do I become a member of this? How do I become a part of the community? It's very simple. Just go to bit.ly/gbg Abeokuta member. That's to become a member. Just it's very simple. Just fill in your details. It's not something that's quite stressful. And then to be part of the community, we actually have a Facebook community where we dish out our upcoming programs. We have series of events lined up every day to keep you in tune with us. Well, to get registered with that, just go to fb.com/groups/gbg Abeokuta. I'll say that again, fb.com/groups/GBJ Abeokuta. That is the way you can connect to us on our Facebook page, and then we can tell you have a wonderful nice time with us. Now, to also we're active, as I said, we're active on Facebook, same also as Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube, just like you are watching us now. If you are on YouTube, I'm sure those on Facebook can watch us too. Those are part of the channels wherein you can connect with us. And then during our meetups, we always have this hashtag. So in case you are posting your pictures, you are posting anything on your social media and those which is related to us, you can just tag us, which is at GBG Abeokuta on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We are active. Just at GBG Abeokuta. Also, you can use the hashtag GBG Abeokuta or probably alongside with GBG with hashtag GBG. So with that, we'll love you to also subscribe to our channel. Just press the subscribe channel. If you're actually on YouTube, we'll love you to press the subscribe channel, and then you can press the bell button so that you can get notifications from us in case we are actually on live video, or probably we're actually doing some online meetups. You can hang on with us, and then we'll love you to follow us, and then I'm sure you have a wonderful time with us. Well, with that, I've come to the end of my part on introducing GBG to you, and I know with what I've said, you would love to be on board with us. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toby.
Thanks so much, Israel. That was very nice. So appreciate everyone for joining us. Thanks you. Please, just like Israel said on the call, we look forward to you joining us on our Facebook group. You can check through the comments. The link to the Facebook group is there. You can join us on Facebook group. We have a lot of opportunities, a lot of trainings, a lot of things that are coming up that you can be able to part of if you can be part of the group. Thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Please also make sure to share this recordings with every other person. It's going to be available on Facebook. It's going to be available on YouTube. You can always share with others to learn. Thanks so much for being part of us. Apologies for the first part of the presentation that the audio was not working. Thanks so much for taking your time to be part of us this evening. Bye.